Okay, this regular council meeting will come to order. And could we have a certification of a quorum, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Jason Knight.
Here.
Councilmember Place 1, Ruth Camarillo Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Place 2, Elise Chacon.
Here.
Councilmember Place 3, Luana Lulu Martin.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Place 4, Randy Haskins.
Here.
Mayor, there is a quorum of the council present to conduct this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and the invocation will be delivered by Shelly Ibarra.
Thank you, Father, so very much for all those who have come forth to be servants to the needs of Aransas Pass. In your word, you say the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. The one who serves is the greatest. Please guide this council and every person working for Aransas Pass and all its citizens. Thank you for peace, Lord. Bless our town in mighty ways. Release your flood of blessings. Bless and keep our troops and all serving in government. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and now we're going to move into presentations, and this will be for a proclamation designating May 6th through May 12th, 2026 as National Nurses Week. Okay, nurses are the backbone of the healthcare system, providing essential care, compassion, and expertise to patients in hospitals, clinics, schools, and homes throughout the great state of Texas. Nurses make a profound impact on health, innovation, and policy, serving as leaders, advocates, and educators in our communities. The 2026 Nurses Week theme, The Power of Nurses, recognizes the invaluable contributions of nurses in driving health transformation and their unwavering commitment to patient-centered care. Texas nurses have consistently exhibited immense courage and dedication, continuing to rise to challenges, improving patient outcomes, and serving with resilience and grace. National Nurses Week is celebrated annually from May 6th, recognized as National Nurses Day, through May 12th, the birthday of Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing. Therefore, I, Mayor Jason Knight, do hereby proclaim the week of May 6th through May 12th, 2026 as National Nurses Week in Aransas Pass, Texas, and urge all residents to join me in expressing gratitude and appreciation for the dedication and service of our nurses.
Yeah.
Do the rest of you want to come out, the council members?
No, you go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, are we good for the next one, Mary?
No, they informed me that they're running a little late, so we can skip through that one, and I'll advise you when they arrive.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the next
Okay.
one is mine too.
Right?
Yes, we have a special council meeting scheduled for, I believe that's a Wednesday, May 13th at 6 o'clock, and that's going to be to canvass the results of the May 2nd general election.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, now we'll move into citizens' comments.
Good evening. My name is Leroy Terrio. Thank you to members of the council for your invaluable time and effort in which you serve our city. Pardon me if I get right to the point. Our city is currently facing not only immediate and long-term financial challenges, but we, along with the rest of the region, are fighting for our very existence as a city via the blooming water crisis. No water means no Aransas Pass. If we fail to unite together in such matters, we may indeed lose a city that has taken over a century to build. Now more than ever, we need to be a functioning community. As we should be working out our disagreements in an agreeable manner, we as a city are found so often to devolve into petty beefs, gossip, and outright slander. Let's go to Scripture to see what the Word has to say about such matters. When the Apostle Paul wrote to Galatia, he was addressing a people mired in such behavior. Galatians 5:19 through 23, now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanliness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissensions, heresies, envy, murder, drunkenness, revelries, and the like. Of which I tell you beforehand, just as I told you in times past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such there is no law. In every community, I assure you, there are those who speak loudly yet seldom have anything productive to say, and even less productive action to offer. Let the fools prove themselves to be fools, as the Word also advises. We must accept that there are those in every community that are seldom correct in their delivery, but never in doubt that they are right and the world is wrong. This last election produced less than 9% of registered voters. Short take, the voters have long since lost confidence in the city and its elected officials. But I have faith that can change with each one of you. I have faith that the members of this council that I stand before right now have a good heart for this city that can be reflected in action. My request and prayer that the example of calm, civil discourse, debate, and in the end cooperation begin with the council I now stand before. Yes, you will be criticized, scrutinized, and at times unfairly slandered. And yet I pray that you will do not answer with the same. I pray you will answer as Paul pleads in Romans 12:20 through 21. If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him a drink. For in doing so, you will heap coals of fire of shame on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Kathleen Holland. Thank you for all you do. I would like to begin by acknowledging the recent statement made by Aransas Pass Police Department regarding the results of the geoforensic search of Elisa Robertson's childhood home. We appreciate this transparency and anticipate they will be receiving the complete case records in the very near future. To date, they have received nothing. It was supposed to be overnighted. It was not. However, the release of these files is a transfer of information, not a transfer of responsibility. We appreciate the transparency regarding the geoforensic search results and look forward to the full case file transfer. However, let's be clear, a transfer of information is not transfer of responsibility. The APPD remains the Office of Origin. While we value the Texas Attorney General's assistance, their involvement does not give you pass on your jurisdictional duty. The Texas Crime Victims Bill of Rights isn't a suggestion, it is law. And for decades, this department has failed to uphold the statutory mandates we are calling out the APPD for. Chief Perkins, the failure to pursue credible, viable leads over the years is a direct violation of law. The failure to keep the family notified of all important updates and proceedings, and for the lack of meaning communication. 3, the failure to acknowledge the rights of the victim and her family. Throughout this process, the APPD has repeatedly disregarded emotional and legal standings of the survivors. Let it be understood that the release of these files does not erase the years of documented mishandling nor does it transfer the APPD's burden of investigation to the family or outside agencies. The presence of outside forensic teams or state-level support serves to supplement your work, not replace it. We call upon the Aransas Pass Police Department to immediately commit to a proactive investigative strategy for all currently viable leads, independent of family-driven advocacy. 2, establish a formal reoccurring schedule for investigative updates as mandated by the Texas Crime Victim Bills of Rights, ending the era of family-initiated inquiries by departmental silence. 3, acknowledge procedural failures by formally recognizing this historical mismanagement of this case, ensuring that moving forward Alyssa's disappearance is handled with professional rigor and the legal integrity it deserves. Chief Perkins, we expect the Aransas Pass Police Department to finally operate as the agency that Alyssa Robertson or any other Aransas Pass citizen deserves. A family should never be forced to retain legal counsel simply to compel a police department to follow Texas law. When you took your oath of office, I took an oath, and I still swear to that oath. You swore to uphold the Texas Constitution. We are calling on you to honor that oath and the badge it symbolizes. Do not allow your department's inaction to tarnish the integrity of that commitment. Your predecessors proved themselves to be less than worthy of that badge. We urge you not to repeat the same mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Mary, can you make a
Very
comment on that?
important to a lot of us.
Yep.
Yeah. Just to address the issue of where we stand with the release of the files, I reached out, once the judge signed that order, I reached out to Ruby Hall,
Ruby.
attorney, and I thought as soon as I get those files, which I got them almost immediately, I contacted him and advised him that I had them, that I could forward them to him the way we had discussed and talked about. And he said, well, do me a favor. He says, can you overnight them to her? I said, well, being that you're her lawyer, I said, and that's what we had discussed. Once I get him, I'll forward them to you. That way you can forward them to your client. So he said, let me get back to you. Well, today he sent me the Ruby's address. So I myself, my office, instead of her lawyer, will be forwarding those documents to her
To
by way
her.
of a drive.
Not to her lawyer.
Not to the lawyer, because he asked me to do him a favor and forward that to his client, which
No, it's
I'm
gotta
reluctant.
come from
I'm
you.
reluctant to do that.
It's
Okay,
gotta come
because
from you.
well, I'm reluctant to do that because if that file gets lost, then it's on me.
You have a backup,
So, well, the backups with the PD, they'll always have a backup, right? But
Are you kidding me?
no, I'm not kidding you. The backups with the PD, and I'm going to forward
So you're
the drive.
afraid of... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I myself will forward that drive to his client, okay, tomorrow morning, overnighted. That way she can have it, okay?
Yeah,
So
'cause
so
we
that's
just-
the process.
I just texted her and no,
Okay.
it's not
But
there.
that's where we're at. You can let her know that tomorrow I'll be forwarding
And
that
it's
to
been
the
how long
address that I have.
since the statement was released?
Ma'am?
It was how long since the statement was released?
I
It'd be
don't know.
really easy. I mean, I know, when I was in the military, I know where my threat was. Shouldn't be tough to find a file, put it on a flash drive, and get it out.
That wasn't the problem, ma'am. The problem was that we didn't have a signed order from the court. Not until I had that signed order could I
Yes, sir.
release it.
Yes, sir.
So that
We
was
know
the
all
problem. That was the problem. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
think I've addressed all your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Bill.
Okay, I just want to say a few things. First of all, I want to apologize to this manager for the way it behaved. Okay. I've thought a lot about ESA, and basically, if you keep the district and get rid of everything else, you'll have a blue line on the map, and that's it, with no rules. There's no way to define what it does, okay? So if you want to get rid of the board, that's up to you, but it means going into the ordinance and making the changes in the ordinance rather than just saying, oh, we're going to just blow everything off. Because if you can't, there's all kinds of things in the ordinance that was voted on, that was agreed to by city council. And you're going to be ignoring your own ordinance, which it wouldn't be a great thing. So all I'm saying is that you consider that. So don't get rid of the ordinance, make changes to it. If you want to get rid of the board, like I told him, shoot it in the head and be done with it. Oh, no, not you. I don't know who that guy is.
They look a lot alike. I get it.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, yeah, you found the right one.
In the pink shirt.
Yeah, anyway, so I just wanted to say that I apologize for becoming a little dysregulated last time. The problem partially came from the 4 people who decided to come up and interrupt me, and I felt frustrated and I lost control over what I was saying, what I was trying to say. So there you go. Keep the ordinance, just make changes to it, and then you'll at least have more than just a blue line on a map. Okay? That's all I have to say.
All right.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bill.
Bill.
My name is Darlene Min, and I'm here today again to speak regarding the investigation into the 1989 disappearance of Blanca Elisa Roberson. First and foremost, I want to extend a sincere thank you to the current City Council, the City Attorney, City Manager, and Chief Perkins. Your decision to ensure that Aransas Pass Police Department release a formal statement and the release of the case files was the right thing to do. The family in this community are truly grateful. It is our sincere hope that this marks a turning point toward true transparency and an open working relationship with the family and their independent investigators. However, while we appreciate the statement, we are deeply disappointed by its omissions. The statement notes that forensic results did not provide any new evidence. What it fails to explicitly clarify is that the recent survey yielded 0 results for human remains. And beyond that, the statement was missing something this family clearly deserves to hear: a public and formal apology. There was no apology for the 10 years wasted while this case was stagnant, nor for the gross mishandling of the 2016 investigation. There was no apology for the mistakes and missteps taken by Captain Rhodes and Chief Blanchard, nor for the blatant disrespect shown to the family and the original investigators who worked this case with integrity. There was no apology for the departments telling the family and other notable cold case agencies that this was no longer a missing persons case, but rather a matter of logistics. There was no apology to Elisa's mother, Marina Roberson, who was bullied and interrogated for hours in an attempt to coerce a false confession, or to Elisa's sister, Ruby, who was subjected to the trauma of being told that she witnessed the murder of her own sister and she needed to come clean. But most importantly, there was no apology for the legitimate, viable leads that had been brought to this department's attention and dismissed for several years, leads that continue to be ignored. I am grateful that the family is finally being granted access to the case files. No one deserves it more than this family and their dedicated investigative team. However, the APPD is not off the hook. Under the Texas Crime Victims Bill of Rights, victims and their families have clear, protected rights. This includes a right to be informed about the status of the investigation and the right to be notified of all significant developments in the case. These are legal requirements that must be upheld. The department owes it to Elisa and her family to maintain an open, honest, and respectful dialogue moving forward. Finally, I want to remind everybody in this room, if this can happen to the Roberson family, it can happen to any family in Aransas Pass if things remain unchanged. True accountability isn't just releasing a report, it's about acknowledging the mistakes of the past so they are never repeated and that no other family has to suffer the way this family has. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Darlene.
Thank you, Darlene.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak? No? Okay. Let's see where we're going. All right, now we're going to move into staff reports and other discussion items. Right.
So the first one is a report on a new, there was new legislation that affects our mobile food truck ordinance, and Joseph Garza is prepared to speak on that.
Evening, Mayor, Council. So as some of you may or may not know, House Bill 2844 was approved sometime last year. It doesn't go into effect until this June 1st to be exact. What it does is gives the state basically jurisdiction to regulate and enforce food trucks. It'll be a statewide permit for food trucks, and they'll be the ones to issue it out, the state. So as far as our current ordinance, it's going to have to be amended, of course, and what we do want to do is place some type of registration for the food trucks. Reason being is the city is still able to regulate as the zoning portion of where food trucks are located, where they're able to operate, the times, the hours, and basically items like that. As far as permitting, no municipality is allowed to do that anymore. That's not just here, that's throughout the state of Texas. So this discussion item is basically to bring it to y'all's attention and to basically poke y'all's brain to see if there's anything else that y'all would want to suggest or anything like that.
Okay.
For clarification for our community, what is the state fee for this permit?
That has not been released yet.
What will our fee be?
We won't be charging a fee.
Joseph, where does the tax go that these food trucks encounter? Who gets the taxes, sales tax?
I know we don't. Usually with the food trucks at the moment, all they do is pay for the permit through the city, and that's all they pay for that I know of.
Do they charge taxes?
They should charge a sales tax.
I
think
know-
if they charge a tax and they're registered in the city of Aransas Pass, then we will collect that tax.
I understand that, but now under this state guidance that you can't do a permit, who gets it now?
Food truck should have a sales tax ID.
Well, they still
and
have a
permit
sales.
number.
Yeah.
This is just for the permit fee.
Yes, this is just for the permit fee. We're not able to permit food trucks at all to operate. There cannot be any condition. You have to pull a permit in order to operate.
So basically, they
There's
pay
not-
for this statewide permitting fee, and they can go anywhere in
Anywhere in
Texas.
Yes.
Texas.
As long as they have permission from the property owners or whatever.
Exactly, as long as they have
Okay.
that authorization.
Right, but they are required to have a sales tax permit, and they have to
Now, as far
report.
as any sales taxes or taxes period, I mean, that doesn't go through my department, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well, as a previous food truck owner, we were required to have a sales tax number and report where you went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally
I
they do.
know we,
Yeah,
I
they
know
have
we
a
do
sales
ask
tax.
for
Yeah.
the sales tax number when it comes to the permitting, but as far as what goes into the sales tax, I mean, it's not regulated by the building department or planning and zoning.
Yeah, but they're still required to get a sales tax, and if they're registered, if their mobile food truck is registered here in Aransas Pass, then we will collect that tax.
Okay.
Just said
That
we're not
sales
gonna,
tax.
they're not gonna register with the locals anymore. It's gonna be statewide permit. So how are we gonna know what they're doing?
When you, I'm sorry to interrupt, when you do when you're in sales tax, your sales tax, wherever you're conducting the sale, the state wants you to, there's a list of codes for each city, so you would basically designate that sale Like, let's just say you were in San Antonio one day.
You
All
have
those,
to have a location. So
Right.
wherever you have a location, like us, the city of Aransas Pass, we collect sales tax. We collect sales tax here for our water. We collect sales tax.
I understand
for
all
the
that. It's
garbage.
food trucks that are the
So
issue.
what I'm trying to explain is that when we registered for the transfer station, we had to let the state know this is the new address that we're going to be doing business and we're going to be collecting sales tax at. So that's what the food mobile vendors should be doing, is there should be adding a location to their sales tax report, so that when you go and do your sales tax report, you'll report the sales per location. That's what we do here. We report the sales at the Aquatic Center, at the Civic Center, here, and at the transfer station. So every vendor should have a location set up for where they're going to be setting up. If they're going to be setting up here in Aransas, if they're going to be doing business in Rockport, so that when they report by location of their sales. So there's no way of us tracking that, unfortunately. We don't have a mechanism in place that would allow us to track unless we come up with something that would require for them to provide us proof that they have registered their location here in Aransas to collect the sales tax and report the sales tax.
That's the issue.
Yes.
But we
That's what would need to happen. There would need to be a mechanism in place that would require them
Add it in
to
the
provide
ordinance.
proof.
Yeah.
Well,
that
this
they're-
goes with all vendors, not
Yeah.
just food trucks. We don't have any control over what they report. It's solely on them as a business. They're
Correct.
supposed to do it per place
If
where they
we
go,
feel
but we
that-
don't have any right
correct.
to tell them how to
If we feel
do
that
it
there's
or
food trucks here
make
that are
them,
not
force
reporting
them.
their sales tax here, we can call the state comptroller and have them go do an audit on their sales tax reports.
Okay, to make it simple though, to simplify this, are they required to register with us or contact us and
No.
tell
It
us
is-
that they're here doing business?
It is my understanding that this new rule is changing all of that.
So that they don't
So
have
they
to
can
tell
just
you
come
you're
in
here?
and nothing, right?
Well, there's an issue right there.
Yeah.
But that's,
They can just come in and set up and do whatever they want to do.
Let me ask Mr. Isasi, I know that we're gonna have to go back and amend our mobile food truck ordinance because of this new law that's going into effect July 1st. Could we include some language in that ordinance that if they're going to operate a mobile food truck here in the city of Aransas Pass, that we require that they register their sales tax in Aransas Pass?
I think so, as long as, I think that the only, from my understanding of this House bill, the only thing we can't do is hit him with another permit tax.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as regulating, like you said, the location, the times, we could also amend our ordinance to include, because they've gotta come in here and say, we're gonna be doing business, but they gotta find out what locations are set up for.
so they're
for
still gonna
vendors.
register,
So
Joseph?
that's the
So
reason
they
for
still
the
have to come in
registration.
here
It's
and-
purely for location and
Right.
record keeping.
And then we, at that point, maybe we can verify, put in our ordinance that will verify that they're including us in their tax ID to be sent to the comptrollers.
Yeah.
That they're doing business for a couple of days here in Aransas Pass.
Exactly, and they still have to go through the proper channels as far as fire inspections and whatever the fire department needs to do.
So will they be getting a yearly registration, or will it have to be every time they want to come in and set up?
We're trying to do it yearly.
So basically, once they do the yearly, they can go wherever they want to go through to within the city, within that year.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then we can include that as, in the amended ordinance.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Everybody good?
Yep.
All right.
Questions?
Sure. Come on.
I used to be involved with Destination Downtown Aransas Pass back in 2015 and 16 before Hurricane Harvey, and we used to, and after Hurricane Harvey, we facilitated the farmer and artisan market in the parking lot of the chamber for several years until 2020 when everything shut down. And the ordinances for the vendors, we didn't really get any food trucks at our markets because the ordinances were very vague in what was required. And later it was established that if it was on private property, no permits were required, but if it was on city property, it was required. And so is that what y'all are sort of trying to coordinate or navigate at this point, is whether or not if it's on private property, a permit is still required versus if it's on city property, only being required for city property?
It doesn't sound to me like that's even a consideration. It's just
No.
a state permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which my
so-
issue with it is
So
they
they
can
just-
go wherever they want, set up,
Well, sure, I
conduct
mean-
business, but we don't know that they're out there, so they don't pay taxes.
Okay, most businesses that are like that, if they, they may reside in Aransas Pass but conduct business in Odom and Rockport and whatnot. So, do they also require different permitting and such when they go elsewhere?
It could be per city ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think on
If
this
there is a
one,
city ordinance.
we're just going to have, since we won't be able to permit them, we'll just ask for, correct me if I'm wrong, so we're just going to ask them to register so we know they're here, they're still
And
getting
that
their
was one of the
inspected.
things that was
and
we were always not unsure because there wasn't a lot of
Yeah,
definition that was established back then when we were doing it. Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, and I think they've changed that some now, but then now it's changing because of the state. But I think what I understand is we're going to have them register, then we're going to amend the ordinance so that when they do it, that they need to declare that, like, when they're here,
In the city
that whatever their
itself,
sales are gets
parameter,
reported
not
to the
just private
state,
property or
so that we
city.
receive that sales
Exactly.
tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say the mobile establishment ordinance.
And then, but it's up to them whether they actually do it. We can't monitor it.
22.
And that's the same with all vendors, though. Like when somebody comes in for one of the festivals or something, if they're a vendor, they're supposed to show all their sales for like each individual location they're at. Like, so when they go to
Gotcha.
Rockport, they're supposed to report to the comptroller their sales for Rockport, and then that money goes to Rockport for the sales tax, and then here
Gotcha.
Aransas Pass. That's what it's supposed
That's
to
what
be.
y'all are-
But we
are-
yes, but we can't like monitor theirs. We just have to.
Right.
We could just tell them, hey, you need to do that.
You can,
Yeah.
you can conduct
Right.
business anywhere. You're not. You can't control somebody
Right,
else's
but we can
business,
just tell them
but
they're supposed
just
to.
how they are regulated
Right.
here.
Mhm.
Okay. I was
Yes,
just trying
ma'am.
to. Yeah. Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
In my opinion, I think regardless if it's public or private property, they need to have a registration with our city. In addition to that, nowhere in our area do we regulate water dumpage or oil dumpage, which is absolutely crazy, because we don't know where they're dumping their black water. We don't know where they're dumping their oil. Now, in Houston, we had what we called commissaries, where you would go and
Yeah, we'll have to.
dump your water and dump your oil, and you would get a receipt. And if the health inspector showed up, then you would have to produce your receipt if it was asked for it, and it kind of helped regulate dumpage.
Well, I guess we'll have to talk about that during the ordinance time, because this is
Right,
way.
but I'm just saying, but it'd be
Yeah.
nice, we need to see what we can do to
Yeah,
address those
I
issues.
agree. Okay. All right, so good? All right, thank you, Joseph. Okay, now, I guess
They have not arrived yet.
well, we
I
got
just
we
gotta-
got the 7-2.
They said 5 minutes away.
Oh, they're about 5 minutes away. Do
Okay.
you want to just maybe recess? They should be here in about 5 minutes, or do you want to go on to the hot fund discussion?
Yeah, I guess we can go on to, we'll do the hot fun
fund.
one now?
Hot fund, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So-
believe Sal's going to address that item.
Yes, thank you. So, this is my first go-around for hot funds, and I think since y'all made the changes in December, and what we're, basically in summation, what we're looking at here, and we'll probably have to do a workshop for it, but just kind of move this into more of a reimbursement type program rather than put up the funds ahead. That's a lot cleaner that way. Yes, the event has happened, but that also, makes it a one meeting kind of situation, depending on, if there's maybe some hiccups. But, when we get to that one, for the hot funds today, that's a good example. The event already happened. They came with receipts with their application. An assessment was done. The Texas Hotel and Lodging Association was consulted. They gave their blessing on this and that, and that helps us communicate to you a recommendation for y'all to make that final call. So I think we have a few ideas on how to make this a little more streamlined, more cleaner, and more less susceptible to scrutiny as far as did we do the right thing? So that's kind of the direction we're going to be moving. But like I said, we definitely want to have a workshop with council to work it ins and outs.
All right. You good with that?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Did you have any other suggestions or stuff you want us to look into in the meantime?
I don't think so.
So y'all are okay with just doing it on a reimbursement basis, or?
Well,
100%.
as long as they're not expecting the entire amount reimbursed and they know that it's only a portion or whatever the council approves, like if they come in here with receipts for whatever
Well,
amount
it's all based on a
that is.
percentage of what's collected per category, either way.
Well, there's
Uh,
only
no,
two
there's
that
only-
have a cap, which is just the arts and the, I
History.
think the historical,
Yeah.
that have
Historical.
caps. The other ones do not.
No one should ever be under the presumption they're going to get full reimbursement.
Okay,
Okay.
that's all.
Right.
That was
Especially
my
if
only
part of
concern.
the, part of the program was in another city, you know, that we would have to know that information as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, do you want us to bring this back, or do you just want us to go based on your recommendation now, that just handle it on a reimbursement basis?
Do we need to act on it?
No.
No.
I mean, we'll have to bring the ordinance back, so to have the guidelines amended to show that they're
So
going
it's
to be
gonna be
awarded on a
reimbursement
reimbursement
only?
basis.
That would also include the time frame. I know that time frame for the deadline between January and March was kind of designed for budgetary reasons, but, you know, if we're going to move into a reimbursement program, we kind of need to adjust that as well.
I think it should be open,
Just whenever.
just whenever people have, have their receipts, bring them in and let's address it and see what we can do, as long as there's funds available.
All right.
Okay, then we'll take off that time period.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
Guess,
Yes.
see, they got here just in time.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're gonna move into a presentation on alternative water supplies. Rosa Ramirez, Business Development Director, Seven Seas Water Group.
Okay, I did get their presentation, so I'm going to try to bring it up, and then, can you pass these to the council? Yes. I got you all right. Let me see.
Oh, no, I feel bad for y'all guys.
Which one is it? I have 3 presentations on here. Which one is it? This one here? Okay, this one? Okay, this one? Yeah, let me.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
No, it was fine.
Nice to meet you.
See you again.
Hi, Ruth.
That's what I just heard. They're brilliant.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, again, thank you so much for, it actually worked out great. All the construction and everything kind of delayed us, but my name is Rosana Ramirez, and I'm the Business Development Director for Seven Seas here in Texas. I've been with Seven Seas for about a year and a half, but I have about 18 years in the water industry. I started when I was 5, so that's that's kind of my intro. At Seven Seas, and I'm just going to be looking up because I'm going to remind myself where I am. So Seven Seas, just to give you a little bit background of who we are. So we are a company based in Tampa. We have a headquarters in Tampa, in Florida, and we have also headquarters in Houston. We have about 200 plants total of the plants that we own and operate, and of course maintain and provide water, supply water to our customers. We started in the Caribbean islands, and we are the only supplier of drinking water for several of the Caribbean islands. For example, if you go to an island in the USVI, U.S. Virgin Islands, you will be drinking water from Seven Seas. That we are the only portable water provider on those islands. Same in the U.S. British Islands and Aruba and 22 other islands in the Caribbean. The only thing we do is water. We treat water day in and day out. You guys have the responsibility to provide the city with streets, with all of the services that you do, lighting and maintenance and parks. We don't have to do that. We don't diversify our services. We are only a water treatment company. We are the only company, we are the owners of the Water as a Service trademark. That's a trademark from Seven Seas. And Water as a Service is a way of doing business, and we bring everything that you will need to have a worry-free transaction with the Seven Seas. I'll go to the next slide, please. Okay. With Water as a Service, what we provide is the design, the build, the operate, and the maintenance of the plants. But most important of all, we provide 100% of the capital that's necessary to build a plant. We are owned by EQT. EQT is an investment firm that provides the funds to infrastructure funds to build the plants. So our funding cycles, you're generally very aware of how those go. Our funding cycles is 4 weeks. So whenever we present a project to our board, and the board approves the projects, because we do the same thing that you guys do, we bring the projects to our board and the boards approve them. 4 weeks later, we have full funding to do our project. So whenever we start a project, we don't have to think about, oh, will we have funds to finish this project? No, we know from day one that the funds will be there to finish the projects we work on. We do plant operations. We do staffing. We hire local for plant operations. Our plant in Alice, and you're going to hear me talk about Alice a lot. Our plant in Alice, we built that plant in about 6 months. The permitting process is what took about 18 to 24 months to actually get that plant operational and providing water to the citizens of Alice. Right now, Alice is the only city in the Coastal Bend region that's not in water restrictions. They have lifted the water restrictions. They can water the plants. They can wash their cars. They can do everything that we can't. Oh, by the way, I live in Portland, so I'm in the same boat that you guys are. Alice is a prime example of how our model works. Something that before Alice started running about May of last year, so it's been about a year that's been running. Before Alice actually started running, I would tell the story of Alice and how they brought that they started planning for the plant when the lakes were about 67% full. At that point, they were like the Noah's Ark of the region, right? Why are you building a plant? The lakes are 67% full. It's like, Noah, why are you building an ark? It has never rained. So they were that. Right now, like I mentioned, they are the only ones that have water. The plant was built in about 6 months. Permitting took about 24 months, and is the first public-private partnership for water in Texas. So we have that accolade to our name in the city of Alice. Let me see.
Can you rephrase what you said? What took 24 months?
Permitting. The permitting process with TCEQ takes about between 18 to 24 months. So that's what it takes from doing the permitting for the wells, the permitting for the actual plant, and the permitting for the discharge. And the city of Alice is a 3 MGD plant, 2.7, and has installed capacity of 4 MGD. And the reason is 4 MGD installed capacity is because we guarantee quantity and quality. So something about Seven Seas Water as a Service is that our contracts guarantee quantity and quality. So if the quality does not meet the expectations or the contractual expectations, or the quantity does not meet the contractual expectations, we don't get paid. So the water has to meet the quantity that you require every day and the quality. Something else that is very unique to Water as a Service contract is that I think you can go to the next slide. The rate is fixed at the beginning of the contract, and I'll go into that a little bit later on. So a lot of people ask me, why brackish water? Because you hear it especially in San Patricio County, we hear a lot about groundwater. Well, there's a big difference between freshwater and a freshwater aquifer and a groundwater and a brackish water aquifer. Brackish water has more salts, and brackish water is defined as the water that's too salty for consumption by TCEQ. That's about what's above 1,000 ppm of TDS, or total dissolved solids. Around here, we are about 800, between 700 to 800 ppm of TDS on a regular basis. For TCEQ has to be above 1,000, and is brackish water. The sweet spot for desalinating brackish water is about 3,000 ppm of TDS. That's water that you cannot irrigate with, you cannot drink, obviously. Not even cattle will drink 3,000 ppm of TDS. Actually learned something a couple weeks ago. Cattle can drink up to 2,500 ppm of TDS. So 3,000 is way too high. So there's abundance of brackish water in Texas. There's the TWDB, Texas Water Development Board, has identified, and that's public information. You can go Google it or go to the Texas Water Development Board webpage, has identified brackish water all over Texas. Matter of fact, the Texas Water Development Board says that if everybody in Texas was to get off freshwater being surface, freshwater wells, and we will all start consuming just brackish water, the desalinated brackish water, we would have enough water for all of us. And that's Houston, that's your Austin, that's your Dallas, every major and small city in Texas. There will be enough water to all of us for 150 years. And that's the water that can be reached. If we add the water that's hard to reach, that would be 220 years if we were all get off fresh water. A lot of people, and I'm going to go into the slide, but a lot of people ask me, why brackish? Because whenever you go brackish, one is too deep for just the common people to go to. You have to drill deep wells. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead. Whenever you go brackish, you don't compete with your farmers, with your ranchers, with your regular people that own freshwater aquifers. But you have to go deep. That's the premise. You have to go deep, and you have to go to brackish water. The TDS had to be high enough to where the water is too salty to consume, the water is too salty to drink, the water is too salty to irrigate, or to feed to cattle, or to give to cattle. Like I mentioned, it's plentiful, has lower salinity than seawater. So that's another advantage of brackish water. Seawater has a salinity of about 36,000 ppm of TDS. That's about how salty it is. Like I mentioned before, brackish water is about 3,000. So is it salty? Yes, but it's not as salty as seawater. What that does to people like us, like we want to go ahead and use that brackish water for drinking water, is that the cost of desalinated brackish water is not as high, because the materials that you have to use to build a plant for brackish water do not have to be as strong materials as they are for brackish water. They're not as salty, and if anyone here deals with pumps or anything like that, you know that if you put a pump on salty water, seawater is going to be eaten in a matter of months. A brackish water, it has to be very strong materials not to be eaten, and those materials are expensive. But if you move to brackish water, those materials don't have to be that expensive or that hard to be able to run and to be able to last. Now you can get to next. The way we treat the brackish water is the same technology that is treated to desalinate seawater. So when people talk about desalination and they see seawater desalination or brackish water desalination, the core technology is the same, which is reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis, you have a sheet of paper? Oh, look, I just need a white one. Yeah, that's that one.
You can take.
So a reverse osmosis membrane looks just like a sheet of paper. You look at the only thing is 6 feet, or no, like 12 foot long, but it looks like just like a sheet of paper. if you look at a sheet of paper on the microscope, you're gonna see pores. Just at a naked eye, you don't see any pores. The water is pushed through the membrane. So basically, you get that big sheet of paper, you roll it around a perforated tube, and you push water from the outside in. A very small, or about a quarter of the water, stays on this side of the membrane. It collects all the salts, all the viruses, bacteria, and everything that would make that water undrinkable. And the clean water goes to the middle and it gets collected. So the brackish, when water is desalinated, not only salts are removed, but all the harmful components like viruses and bacteria. But what that does to the water is, whenever it gets to the center of the tube, it's way too clean now to drink. It's very pure. So what we have to do is add minerals back to the water to make it taste good and to make it good for our bodies. If you look at that bottle of drinking water, that probably says, no, probably that one does, says treated with reverse osmosis. So most of the, unless it says from a spring or a natural source, all bottled water has been treated by reverse osmosis. So that's what desalination or reverse osmosis does to water. Go. So again, what is brackish reverse osmosis? It's a membrane-based desalination process. It removes salts, bacteria, and viruses by a membrane process. It's proven, it's scalable, and it's energy efficient. Something that I get asked a lot, well, but brackish or desalination uses a lot of energy. It used to. Back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, when desalination became popular, especially for industry. Industry has been doing desalination, or what they call reverse osmosis, for decades. And it used to be very expensive because of the energy consumption. But it's 2026. It's 30, 40 years later. We have improved the processes. The consumption of energy is not as high as it used to be. It would be wrong to say that the expectations remain the same for desalination, because I guess 20, 30 years ago, we would have not dreamed of having a computer in our pockets, and today we do. And something that is most advantageous is scalable. Whenever you build, for example, a surface water treatment plant, it's fixed. You build a tank, usually they're tanks. You build a tank, and the tanks are a fixed size, and you get what you get. There's variations of how much you can increase that flow or decrease, but they're usually fixed size tanks. With desalination, with reverse osmosis desalination, these things come in trains. I don't know if you can see in the picture. You can see 2 trains in there. So adding trains to a reverse osmosis plant is very easy. In Alice, for example, we left space, so a couple of trains can be easily slide in there to add volume and to add more capacity to the plant.
So all your plants are modular, pretty much.
Our plants are modular. The actually train is modular.
Okay.
So you can add as you need.
Okay.
Yes. Something else that a lot of people ask me, well, this is a temporary solution. It's just a temporary, so we get by, right? There's 3 plants in Texas that have been there for more than 20 years. So El Paso Water with K. Bailey Hutchison desal plant is being operational since 2007. It's the largest inland brackish plant in North America, and that's actually wrong because it's the largest inland desalination plant in the world. It has to be in Texas. The southmost regional water authority, that's a mouthful, that's actually Brownsville. Brownsville has a desalination plant, 10 MGD, it's been running since 2004, that discharges to a closed bay. There are studies for the city of Brownsville. The city of Brownsville has done it, and also independent organizations have done on that bay that show the improvement that actually the discharge from the desalination plant has caused into Brownsville. And let me go into there a little bit, because people think, oh, well, it's desalination discharge is going to kill our bays, or it's going to harm the ecosystem. Remember, we start with raw water at 3,000 ppm of TDS. I mentioned that at the beginning. Brackish water is 3,000. Seawater is 36,000. Whenever you desalinate water, you generate a stream, 25% of the raw water. That's 4 times the beginning TDS. So let's say you started with 3,000 ppm of TDS for brackish water. That means that you're going to discharge a stream 25% less, or 25% of the beginning. So if you started with, let's say, 100 gallons per minute, you're going to discharge 25 gallons per minute. But instead of being 3,000, it's going to be 12,000 ppm of TDS. With seawater, let's say you start at 36,000 ppm of TDS. The recovery, that's what we call, the recovery of seawater is about half. So if you start with 100 gallons, you're going to discharge 50, and you're going to get 50. With brackish, you start with 100, you discharge 25, and you get 75 of potable water. But with seawater, you start with 100 at 36,000 ppm of TDS, and you multiply that by 3. You concentrate it by 3. So now you have more than 112,000 ppm of TDS going into your discharge point. So you see the difference? We go from 12,000 that you're discharging from brackish to more than 100,000 that you discharge with seawater. And it's a higher volume as well. So that's the main difference. That's why the Southmost Brownsville were able to run those studies and to prove that the actual inflow of fresher water into the bay was actually beneficial for the bay. And the last one is San Antonio. San Antonio has a plant that's been running since 2016 and is up to 10 MGD. And they did it to diversify the portfolio. They were only relying solely on the Edwards Aquifer, this fresh water. And they thought that was not a good idea for a growing city. So to diversify their portfolio, they added brackish water to their services. Cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Alice. So first of all, no capital outlays. Alice, the only thing that they used state money for was their wells. And the story is that and I'm quoting Michael Esparza, the city manager of Alice, I'm sure he will not get mad at me, but if he had to do it again, he will not do it the way they did it. Because, matter of fact, the second well, remember I told you that Alice is providing water for the city of the plant is providing water for the city of Alice. The construction started in 2024, construction of the plant. 2024. The drilling of the well started in 2023. The first well was drilled with money from TWDB in 2023. The plant was built in 6 months with capital from 7 Seas. As of last week, they were putting into operation the second well. That's how long it took from 2023 to get all the money from Texas Well Development Board to be able to do the second well. So when time is of the essence, waiting on getting approvals and going back and forth and how we found it, how we found this and we found that. By the time the well actually got drilled, it was 2 times as expensive as the time that actually got quoted, or more, because inflation. Whenever, yes, you're gonna, and I encourage you, go after grants, go after any help that you can get. But whenever you get your money, inflation is a thing. And usually, especially inflation in materials. And that's why we were able to postpone with Alice, is that whenever we get our money in 4 weeks, we quote it today, and that's what we're paying. We're not paying prices in 2 years. We're paying today's prices. It's a turnkey, worry-free solution. We took care of the whole plant. We take care of the operation of the plant, the maintenance of the plant as well. Only pay for the service you deliver. If we deliver the water, that's what you pay for. Not extras, no oops, my pump broke. All of that is included. We have world-class engineering and field service support. We train our operators. We hire local operators. By the way, also, the whole building and everything in Alice was built with local manpower. We don't bring contractors from out of state to build our plants. We use local operators and local contractors. We trained our operators. The plant in Alice is actually a replica of the plant in St. Martin Island. Whenever we hired the contractors, the plant was being built. The operators. The plant was being built. So we took those operators and sent them to St. Martin Island to get trained. Whenever they came back and the plant was almost done, they looked at the plant and they had seen it before, because it's a replica. So they knew how to operate it, they knew what to do. Economies of scale are reflected in the rate, so the larger the plant, the lower the rate. We, of course, take care of our EHS, our safety rules and regulations. Of course, we use our contracts are usually long-term contracts. Alice is 22 years. So it has to run for 22 years, and the plant is going to turn back to Alice at the end of 22 years. At the end, our contracts say that at the end of 22 years, the plant has to be in the same operational efficiency as the first day. So we have to guarantee that by contract.
Now, that's one question I was going to ask. Let's say at the end of the 22 years, would you enter into a new contract if, let's say if we did this, we'd say, well, we don't want to take over ownership, we'd like to enter into another contract. Is that something you guys would do?
Yeah, so let me tell you something. So the 7 Seas started back in the middle in 1996-7. By now we have many contracts expire, because it's more than 30 years, right? We have not had one customer that has said, we don't want you to run it anymore, we'll take it.
I believe that.
And usually what that does, whenever the plant is paid off, so you don't have to pay for the materials and the construction, all of that, when that part is paid off, and then we only have to run it, then the rate goes down.
Okay.
But the rate gets fixed at the beginning of the contract.
For the duration of the contract?
For the duration of the contract.
Okay. All right, thank you.
The only thing that changes is CPI. CPI is federal rate of inflation,
That's what
which
I
is
was going to
about
ask
2%.
also. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
So
thank
to
you.
clarify, you said that the board funds it, but the city does actually, in fact, pay for it over time.
So
The plant.
7 Seas funds it. 7 Seas funds the plant. So it's my board that have to go to and present your project, and the board says, yes, fund it. My
Right.
board, not anybody else's.
But eventually, the city does pay it back in time with the contract of the 22 years.
Yes, of course.
Buying the water.
Buying the water.
Yes, just buying
We
the
buy
water.
the water through them.
But the city will still be responsible for the infrastructure of the water line,
Hook
is
into
that
the-
correct?
hook into the
Well,
plant.
yes, so the city will be responsible from your distribution. So the customer will not see a difference from the city. The 7 Seas only treats the water. We're not interested in buying water rights or land or even distribution. You give us the water by a well, we treat it and we return it back to you, and you distribute it to the city. So that your customers will, like the City of Alice, they still see City of Alice in their bill.
So let me ask you, I'm so sorry, we would have to drill the wells,
No, you don't have
No.
to.
no?
No.
So how would we give you the water?
It's a form of saying that the land, the water belongs to you. Yeah, the water belongs to you.
So
We
the
can
city-
provide all the infrastructure.
So the city of Alice drilled their wells and they went to Texas Water Development Board for funding to pay for that?
Yes, yes.
So we would be, and that's why I was asking, would we?
You don't have to do that. let me give you the example of South Texas, the South Texas Water Authority. They saw the example of the City of Alice, that the City of Alice have gone to the state for funding for the wells, and how long that took, and they said, we don't want that. So Seven Seas take care of everything. So for South Texas Water Authority, we are drilling the wells, we are piping from the wells to the plant, and we're piping from the plant to the distribution line.
So we would be responsible just for the distribution?
Just for the distribution, yes. And even in the City of Alice, they do their own wells, but we monitor them. We have wired the wells to our SCADA system, so we can take care of them per se.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just add, the city of Ingleside is looking into this system, and we met with the city of Ingleside a couple of weeks ago. We have another meeting scheduled with them next week. What the city of Aransas Pass is interested is partnering with the city of Ingleside. So it's my understanding that they would do the well, and then we would partner with, they would enter into the agreement with Seven Seas, and then we would enter into an agreement with the city of Ingleside.
Yep, that was the main reason for these disaster declarations, because what she's talking about
Yes.
permitting, that's what Alice didn't do. They weren't under a disaster. Since we are, that speeds the permit process up
Yes.
tremendously.
And the
we're-
City of Alice, sorry,
No, go ahead.
No, the City of Alice had time.
Yep. They
So
had
the City
time.
of Alice started actually looking at this after the 2011 big drought that we had. So they had time, they investigated, they researched, they did that, they turned every page they could to see how they could diversify their water source. They found a solution, and they found a good one. The process of how they did it, that's the only thing that they would tell you. They would actually let us do the wells as well because of how easy it was, the whole thing. And right now, there's no difference. There was no change for the citizens on how they get their water. The city owns the water, and that's what. The only thing we do is actually treat the water, and that's what that we're offering to you as well. The only thing we're interested in is treating the water. We're a water treater. We are not interested, like I mentioned, in owning water rights or owning land or distribution even, because we still want the city to have their name on it, on that water bill.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
let me ask, and
Okay.
I don't know if this is a fair question or not, but how much do the residents of Alice pay for the water? Do you know what
I
their
don't
rates
know.
are? Okay.
I can.
Now, I think y'all will base your rights on a test well, am I correct? Like you're right?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
go ahead, go up. Okay, so, this is everything that we do for project execution. We do everything: project management, procurement, logistics, safety, preventive maintenance, on-site operation. I kind of mentioned that, but if you go one more, I'll tell you the process of how the projects get developed.
Can we
So-
go back to previously, because you mentioned that at the end of the 22 years, that we come back and we say we want you just to operate it, but that the price would drop. What, but on that first 22 years, what exactly are we paying for in addition to the cost of water?
You're paying for the actual building of plant. The plant has to be built, the distribution lines, the wells, the actual infrastructure. It's an infrastructure investment.
Right,
yes.
that's why I asked. So
Yeah.
your board funds it, but we actually pay them back
Of
for
course,
it.
yes.
Through the sale of the water.
Through the
Right.
sale of
Yeah.
water, yes.
So, right, I just want our community to understand, somebody's not gonna come in here and build us a free plant. No, we do have to pay that money back.
Of course, yes. It's like electricity.
Right.
Someone comes and builds a power plant. You don't pay for the water plant directly, but you pay it by how much electricity you consume.
Right, no, like, I'm just trying to clarify,
Yes,
that's
no,
all.
no, of course, of course.
So if we
No.
partner with Ingleside on this project, are we paying a surcharge because we're partnering with them, or is it an even split money-wise?
Yep.
That would be my question.
Yep.
Are we paying a service charge to them for providing water to us, what are the details of that gonna be?
Yeah, and we're just beginning to have those discussions. Like I said, we've only had one meeting with them, so we have another meeting scheduled next. But anything that we decide, of course, would come to council.
Sure, okay.
And something that I think I mentioned it prior, there is a limit for how little or how big these plants are. They're actually not so much of a upper limit, but there's a limit to where these plants make sense. And I'm just gonna be straightforward with you guys. Below 2 MGD, these plants become too expensive. They're not economically feasible for you or for us, because the water at that point, the rate is too high to be able to be affordable. Above 2 MGD is when these plants make sense financially. That's why, for example, thank you so much. We were approached years ago by the city of Mathis. We couldn't help them because they're too little. And that if we build a plant for them, then the water becomes too expensive. So at 2 MGD is kind of starts a sweet spot where you can go up, and the price starts getting better and better and better as you go up. So if that makes sense, and that's just a business. That's just business. That's just economics of building these plants.
And where will you be discharging the brine?
So that would be a study that we would have to do. There's for any plant, being here or in Amarillo, Texas, there's 3 options. So there's a surface water discharge where you can go to a wastewater treatment plant, or you can go directly to a stream. There is a deep well injection when you inject the discharge into a deep well. Or there's ponds. You can put, whenever you have a lot of land, for example, in North Texas, when you have a lot of land and it's very hot, you can put the discharge into these big ponds, and the evaporation pond, the water evaporates, and you just keep filling it and it keeps evaporating. Those are 3 options. So those 3 options will have to be evaluated. And obviously those 3 options come with different economic impact or financial impacts to the projects.
Okay.
So there's no cap on how much
Come up here,
being-
Jessica, come up here.
No,
Speak.
there's caps. There's caps.
So if you are producing, even though you're producing more water with less brine offset, is there a cap on how much you're being, like
Yes.
you're proposing that the more you produce, the less the water is? But is there a cap on how much water is produced and how much brine is being offset?
Yes, it's always the same. Always the same. So it's about 20 to 25% of the raw water. So it's always, if you start it with, let's say 100 gallons or 1,000 gallons or 10,000 gallons.
But
20,
isn't the
20%.
goal to be more not demanding on it, but instead of encouraging more water usage, like less water usage should really be
that's not my decision. That's
But-
decision of the city
but
council.
your business setup is set up to, like, the more that's used, the less it's cost. But then they're putting off more brine, even though there's
No.
more usage, more being
What I'm saying is
harvested.
Per se? What I'm saying is that for financial purposes, if a city has to pick between building a very small plant or a slightly larger plant, a smaller plant is going to be more expensive than a larger one. It's backwards than what you would think.
Well, it's not ecological because you're requiring more demand for it to cost
No, I'm not
less.
requiring. That would be the decision of the city council.
Yeah.
No, but the
So-
basis on what you're describing as how your business, like how your plant setup is designed.
No, that's just it's called.
Is more use makes us not pay as much.
That's.
So if we grow more, we pay less, but we have more offset for.
No, it's the same offset.
No, we buy per 1,000 gallons, so whatever
1,000
rate they
gallons.
charge for 1,000 gallons, we pay
Well,
it.
it's not necessarily about per gallon or whatnot. It's about the fact that it's being designed to set up that the more you use, the less it's costing,
No.
which
Mhm.
it shouldn't be. Whereas
That-
it should be, the more
That's the reason why we
efficient
wanna
you
partner
are,
with you.
the more you're
Exactly,
saving.
and that's what it is. That's what it is.
But I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I
the
heard
most-
more
yeah,
that if you're not using as much, then it's costing.
The thing is, for
more.
a city council,
It has
and-
nothing to do with city council, it's how you're set up, what you're proposing to the city council.
no.
Well, let me just say that was the reason why we're wanting to partner with the city of Ingleside, because by partnering with another city, it would help offset the cost for
Because
for
there's
Aransas.
more demand.
Because, yes, ma'am.
But is the demand primarily for residents, or is it also encouraging more businesses that require more water usage?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoever's
that's what
got a
everybody's
water,
about.
whoever's got a
Yeah.
water meter's gonna be hooked onto it.
Well, yeah, but if you're using more, why are you paying less, whereas I'm more efficient using less, but I'm paying?
No.
Well, that's just the way the bill is, even with internet, even with everything else.
The way we structure our billing is based on consumption, so if he consumes more water, he's gonna get paid more, he's gonna pay more.
Well, he's paying more because he's using more, but he's paying less per
Because
volume.
It's on a tier system. It goes down, the more water you consume, the higher it is per thousand.
Why are you encouraging people to use
Mayor.
more?
Jessica,
Mayor.
Jessica, hang on. We gotta get through this.
I think we need to get back to the
Yes,
presentation.
we gotta get through this.
I'll step back, but that was what I was.
All right, okay.
No, and you guys have my phone number, and after the presentation and the day, I'm more than happy to sit down with anyone just to clarify and to explain and to have more time to actually go through the concepts. Because yes, there is hard to grasp sometimes how desalination and how this will make sense for any city. I'm talking to cities in the Panhandle that have an atrocious need of water. We think we have a need of water here. You have no idea. So it's something that is doable anywhere. So this is just a little bit overview of the process of how we go through a project. And if you do it or if you go with the city of Ingleside, however you want to do it, this is always follows the same steps. So first you do initial discussions. This is what we're doing. These are initial discussions. Doing a presentation, just having information, just learning about the process. This is what we do. Then you guys determine your current and future use. I'm not going to tell you how much water you need, because I don't know. How much water you need, you know it. You know your growth rate, you know who uses it, who doesn't use, you know if you have, I don't know, a new housing development coming, or you know how much water you use. So you establish that. And then at that point, we lay out the distribution system. Are we going to be close to a tank, or are we going to be close to a main line? Where are we going to put that plant, pretty much? And we determine, depending on the area, is it brackish water RO or is it a seawater RO? Is it brackish? At that point, we do a hydrological study. Hydrological study is where we bring the experts, we bring the hydrologists, the marine scientists, whoever is needed to see the lay of the land and see, in theory, what's under our feet. At that point, the hydrologist will tell me, Rosanna, yes, we have water at 1,000 feet, and there's this much water, and I think the quality is going to be in this range. That's all theory, right? At that point, whenever we have that theoretical quantity and quality of water that we can provide, we give you a price or estimated price. Why estimated? I'll tell you in a second. At that point, with the estimated price, we sign a water services agreement. It's not a contract for construction. It's not a contract for building you a plant and then see you later. It's a service contract where we're going to establish a relationship that's going to last for a long time. At that point, we start drilling the test well. And the test well is whenever we put a straw in the ground, we take a sample and we know for sure what kind of quantity and quality we are able to deliver. Before, it was all theory. It's a hydrologist with a lot of knowledge that been studying hydrology for many, many years, but it's all theory. Until you put a straw in the ground and you don't take a sample, you don't know what's down there. It's different than seawater, and I get this question a lot because they tell me, well, why can't you tell me a fixed price right away? Because seawater, I can give you a price right away. Why? Because I can go, I don't know how far is the sea from here and get
Right
a sample
there.
and
2
know,
miles.
right? It's right there. for brackish water, you have to drill a well and you have to get a sample. At that point, after the well is drilled and we get a sample, we fix that price. Let's say I gave you a price and the water sample came up, and instead of being 3,000 ppm of TDS, like a hydrologist told us, it's 7,000. And at that point, the price, of course, is going to go up because it's going to be harder to treat that water. There's going to be more pressure, more membranes, and all of that stuff. And the price goes up more than 10% that we quoted you at the beginning, you have an out. At that point, you can say, well, thank you, 7Cs, for drilling a test well, but that's as far as we got. And also, it's as an out for you and for us. We will not make you do business with us if the price went out, because we're in Texas. Texas people talk. And if you're in a happy city, that would be the end of our business. That's why we have Alice, and we want more like Alice, because we want people happy to do business with us and to have water, just to water my plants.
I know.
At that point, we finalize the pricing, everything is settled, and we start rolling. At that point is construction, drilling of the production wells. We start applying for permitting. The permitting we apply for by saying your names. We hire and train operators. At that point, local operators that we train them, send them to the Caribbean, get trained, and then we commission. And at that point, we start delivering contracted quantity and quality.
How many people do you typically employ to build a plant?
It depends on the size of the plant. Oh, to build the plant?
To build it, and
That would be the contractor's decision. We'll contract it out.
Yeah.
And so I think at one time maybe it had 20 people on the job.
And that's something else that we do, is like, we hire local contractors to do the building. The other way to look at what 7Cs can bring to the table is, this is an economic investment into the city. Why? Because let's say this plant takes $20 million to build, to say a number. That's $20 million that is poured into the city to build the plant. It's not like we take those $20 million and we spread them. They're coming into your city to build a plant. So that does mean people, we hire the construction people. We would ask you, do you have a preferred contractor? Do you have a preferred builder? Do you have a preferred electrician, plumber, you name it, to build that plant?
Every bit of that dollar went into Alice, except for mechanical installation. There was nobody in Alice, so we hired out of Corpus. And lo and behold, the 5 guys that were in there installing lived in Orange Grove and a couple of them in Alice. So, and a lot of hotel nights. I live in Corpus, so please hurry.
Right.
So you hire about 20 contractors. How many does a plant employ once
The
it's
plant
built?
employ about two employees.
But there's 25 behind
Yeah.
monitoring the plant. This, we have a
Locally?
SCADA system.
No, this is the plant itself. In the plant, it's a fully automated process.
Okay.
So there's 2 people monitoring the plant and running the plant. They do things like change filters and do light maintenance. But there's a system of engineers and operators that stand behind the scenes watching the plants. We have 22 plants just like this in the Caribbean. We don't custom build. I'm not going to tell you and say, I'm going to build a custom plant for you guys, because that would be a lie. We take a proven design that's worked in other places for many, many years, decades sometimes, and we adapt that design to the place that we're building. Because that design comes from with the same pumps, the same controller, the same valves. We repeat the same design and we buy the same kind of pumps, the same controller. So if something breaks here in Alice or in San Martin Island or USVI, it's the same thing. We store critical parts, so whenever something breaks, we have them, and it doesn't matter where they break. It doesn't take us a year to buy a pump. Right now, pumps for reverse osmosis pumps are taking 12 months lead time, because I talk to people, other cities like El Paso and that have these pumps. The advantage with 7Cs is we have 22 plants. Whenever our procurement people call and say, I need a pump, we have a little bit of pull. So with that being said, spare parts are always available. Matter of fact, and I tell this story a lot, but I was at an event, and the mayor of Alice was sitting right next to me, and my plant manager, he didn't know I was at that event, but anyhow, texted me and said, "Hey, did you know that our RO pump went out last week?" I didn't know. Matter of fact, the mayor didn't know either. So the RO pump went out. The RO pump is the heart of the plant. If that goes out, the whole plant or that section of the plant goes out. So we had it, they brought it down. We have a spare train. Whenever that train went down, we put the spare train on. The plant kept running. We got the new pump, swapped it. 2 days later, everything was running again. No, not even 2 days later. It was like the next day. Everything was running again. And I took that as turned around and told the mayor, "Hey, mayor, did you know that the RO pump went down last week?" And she was like, "No." She knows. She's very informed, mayor. She knows what the plant all entails. And I could see, like in a split second, she went pale and then she light up. But you guys took care of it, right? I was like, "Yes." "Did you notice? Did you notice any interruption in service?" And she was like, "No." That's what we're here. That's the point.
So
I was also worried she was gonna have to pay for it.
Yes.
It's all figured in.
Yeah, yeah.
Are your trains and your parts USA made?
Yes, yes. We make our trains here in the U.S. Try to be switching from parts from other places to U.S. parts. Makes it harder. But like I said, we have more pull because of the many plants that we have, and that's an advantage. Whenever let's say you go to, and something else that we do is we buy chemicals in bulk. And you guys probably know this. Chemicals are expensive. But whenever you buy the amount of chemicals that we buy,
Cheaper.
you also get a little bit of pull. You get a little bit of leeway with people that buy that much. So whenever you're competing for chemical pricing, you're competing with people like us because we also go buy chlorine and go buy other chemicals. So that's an advantage that we bring also to the cities. The chemicals included, labor is included, the benefits for you people are included. Anything that you could need to run a plant is also all included in the rate. So whenever you pay that rate, that's all that you need, all that you pay for treating the water. The finance lady from Alice actually told me it took all about 10 minutes to budget for the water treatment for next year, because their budgeting was, let's get the number of gallons we're gonna need next year times the rate, times 7C's rate. That was one multiplication, and that's it. And the rest of the 9 minutes, I don't know what she did with it. But that's in a nutshell how this process works. So, and this is what where we stand right now. What's the future of desalination in Texas? We believe that desalinated water is going to have to be one of the options. There's many countries in the world that already do it. They do it safely. We already do it. We have El Paso. We have Sauce. We have Tampa. There's a way to do it safely and to do it environmentally friendly. We have many pictures and videos and things from our Caribbean islands where we can show the marine life growing around our intake and discharge. There is a way to do it right. I'm not saying that the public sector cannot do it. I'm just saying that this is the only thing we do. And when you're dedicated to do one thing and one thing only, you can focus on that. Whenever you start diversifying your attention, there's problems. And I'm a mom of 4. I can tell you that.
We had bass swimming in the discharge in Alice today.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And the funny thing in Alice, we discharge into the San Fernando Creek that joins with the wastewater. About less than a mile down, the creek is dry. it's completely dry. It's the water hasn't even reached that far because it gets all sucked into the water. The little area where that water goes in, that's where the bass is growing. P3 business models can help communities close the funding gap. I don't know if you know this, guys, but last week, 2 weeks ago, the Texas Water Development Board published their draft 2027 water plan. In their draft 2027 water plan, it says that there's 179 billion with a B funding gap up to 2050 for Texas water infrastructure projects.
Yep.
The Senate and the legislature in Texas has allotted $1 billion per year for the next 20 years. So that's 20 billion. Where the other 150 billion are going to come from that we need? So there's a funding gap. We predict, and I don't think I'm that wrong, that we're going to have to start working together, the private sector and the public sector, to bring infrastructure changes and updates to Texas water. Resiliency is important when designing critical water infrastructure. Relying on one water source for your city is risky. Having several, I encourage you, don't have 2, have 3, have 4 if you can. Have ways that your citizens do not have to worry about where they're going to get their water next. And then last one is thoughtful planning and management. The desalination plants can successfully provide stable water supply. It's been done. It's being done for decades. Like I said, in other countries, it's been done for decades in the Caribbean, in here in the U.S. We invite you to come to Alice if you haven't been to Alice yet. Go hear it from them. They are, before Alice started actually running, whenever I would tell people 7C's business model, that we provide the capital, it's a fixed rate with only CPI, and it will take care of everything turnkey, they will say, this is too good to be true. Go see Alice. I urge you to go see Alice. They'll tell you the story. I don't need to be there for you to see it. Go talk to the city manager, go talk to the mayor, go talk to the citizens because they have water. So that's all I have. If you have any more questions, I'm open, and if not, you have my information.
Oh. Well, thank you, Ms. Ramirez, for the presentation. So it's like I mentioned, we have met with Ingleside. There is an opportunity for us to partner with the city of Ingleside, but today I wanted you to hear the presentation by 7Cs. And we're in the preliminary discussion, so if there's a consensus from the council, we would like to continue those discussions with 7Cs. And I did want to ask the council about touring the City of Alice facility. And if the council's in agreement, we can work on scheduling a tour.
I think that'd be wonderful.
Absolutely.
I do have a question, because she said that the plant, they build the plant, but who's responsible for the infrastructure for the pipes and everything?
We're responsible to connect to the plant.
To connect to the plant.
We would be responsible.
And where's funding, where would we get funding for something like that?
Well, that's the
that
challenge.
was another reason for that emergency declaration. As soon as I signed that, every state representative
Is
got
that
notified.
something that we have the capacity to do here, as far as do we have the ability to tie into to be able to do that, as far as the infrastructure?
The plans usually, and we'll work with you.
Do you mind coming back up here? I'm sorry, because no one can hear you.
So the plants can be strategically located close to the distribution.
Okay, that's what I was
We're not
wondering.
going to put a plant, up 20 miles from here, because that will defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the purpose is to get you water fast, to get it at an affordable rate, and to have it as soon as possible. So we'll put it strategically where it's convenient for it to get close to the distribution
and I've
lines.
talked to Oscar, and they've got a place picked
Yes,
out
and
that's
yes.
very close to us. I mean,
That would be-
Ingleside's working
Yeah, that would
very
be
well with
ideal
us.
to get it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad y'all made this presentation, because
Yeah, it was really informative. It was great.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Everyone watches the news, and everybody says, well, we got a little time to worry. We're in that worry time, because, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's gone to flat out scary what's going on. And I know as a mayor and this council, this is what our focus on is right now, to
It
get
is.
this problem solved in a great big hurry, because I've got a feeling this stage 1 emergency is going to happen, and we're going to have to battle the storm during the time whenever we're getting this other water source figured out. So, and I really appreciate you guys for giving this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
That building is a Cat 5 hurricane building. It's there.
Oh, wow.
It's identical to St. Martin's, which they always have hurricanes.
Oh, I can't wait to go see it.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you.
You already got it.
Thank y'all.
You want another one?
Thank you.
We go get you.
All right.
Oh. I don't think that would be approved.
I still got yours, yeah. Thank you.
That's a good one, Jessica. Yeah.
There's some kind of little bugs.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Right?
Good to see you again.
Yes, nice to meet you.
All right, appreciate it, sir. You too.
Y'all call.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Again, thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Thank you.
Ooh. All right. Now we're going to move into action items. And it'll be to consider an act on a resolution authorizing intervention in AEP Texas, Inc. application to amend its Ryder Mobile Temporary Emergency Electric Energy Facilities before the commission. Approving cooperation with the city served by AEP Texas, hiring Lloyd Gosselink, did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Attorneys and consulting services to negotiate with the company and direct any necessary litigation and appeals requiring reimbursement of city's rate case expenses.
Yes. I think
So-
Sal's going to take this item.
Yes, thank you. So let me just start off with the city will not incur any charges for participating in these proceedings. So let me just read what some of the findings were. On April 15th, AEP Texas, Inc. Filed an application to amend its Ryder Mobile Temporary Emergency Electric Energy Facilities, the TEEF Ryder, and the law utility may lease and operate facilities that provide temporary electric energy to aid in restoring power to the utilities distribution customers during significant power outage. Utility may recover the reasonable and necessary cost of leasing and operating these facilities through a rider. The TEEF rider AEP has in place now is requesting it to amend its rider. Specifically, AEP is requesting a total revenue of $39,126,569. AEP's current revenue requirement under TEF rider is $24,248,758. If this request is approved, this will result in monthly wires charge bills to retail energy providers to residential customers to be approximately $1.73, an increase of 63 cents over the existing rates. The proposed effective date for rates under TEEF rider is September 1st, 2026. Cities have the ability to intervene, evaluate AEP's application, and work with AEP to reach a settlement for reduced revenue requirements. So that's all this is. Basically, their electric rates through AEP are going to be going up, and a lot of other cities are joining this coalition to basically make sure that maybe doesn't maybe get as high or get lower than the proposed rate that the AEP wants to go.
Okay.
So we recommend approval of the ordinance, or resolution, excuse me.
All right. Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to consider an act on a resolution authorizing intervention in AEP Texas, Inc.'s application to amend its Ryder Mobile Temporary Emergency Electric Energy Facilities before the Commission, approving cooperation with the city served by AEP Texas, hiring Lloyd Gosselink, attorneys and consulting services to negotiate with the company and direct any necessary litigation and appeals requiring reimbursement of city's rate case expenses.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're gonna move into consider and act to award hotel occupancy tax funds for year 2026 to the Science and Spanish Club Network, Whooping Crane's return to Aransas Pass.
Mayor, just for, this is mine, but for the record, Councilmember Martin has filed a conflict of disclosure form. She will not participating in discussion this item. So if, he wasn't, I don't know if he was going to be here or not, but he had, this is Richard Gonzalez for the Seagrass event. He came to us last meeting requesting funds after he did present some receipts, and there were some that were lacking. So after working with him a little bit more, we confirmed the receipts for the supplies to make the puppets under the arts, which is a total of $122.85. And then it was $60 for posters and flyers, and for the banner it was $258.39. So those have been legitimized through paid receipts that he submitted, so we recommend that the reimbursement total of $3,441.24.
Okay.
All right, I make a motion to approve $3,441.24 in hot funds to be awarded to the Science and Spanish Club Network, Whooping Crane's return to Aransas Pass.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we'll go get her now. That was quick.
That was
Okay. Guess we can go ahead and keep going, huh?
just go, because it's,
Yeah. Okay, now, where are we?
it's the big one.
Now we'll move into consider and act on ordinance amending the Personnel Policy Manual adopted October 21st, 2019 by adding Chapter 43, Employee Participation and Civic Involvement, and providing an effective date.
Mayor, I'm going to ask if we postpone this item. There's some clarifications that we have to do within the proposed ordinance, so we'll bring it back on the 18th.
Okay, I guess I'll make a motion to postpone.
I'll make a motion, till when do you want to, till the 18th?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion to table the ordinance amending the personnel policy manual, 8.3.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
Aye.
All right,
No, I
motion-
don't oppose. I'm
Oh, all right.
For it.
Motion carries. Okay. So keep going, huh?
Let me,
She stepped away.
Let's just take a little recess. I don't want to really go on without it.
5 minutes?
okay.
Where's she at?
Let me,
5 minutes.
She was thinking it
Are we
was
gonna take
going to be
5
like
minutes or
last
no?
time.
We can. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute recess. Break time. Okay, we're gonna reconvene in open session. And
This is the big one.
now we're gonna combine all from items 8.4 to 8.11.
So, without having to read, every single one.
Right.
Yeah, so basically in summary, abolishing inactive boards aligned with current governance structures with how work is already being performed eliminates redundancy and reinforces council's role as the ultimate decision maker while making a robust public engagement and accountability. So a lot of these boards, as far as being inactive.
Hey, guys.
A lot of the boards that we have here, so again, those are the Examining and Supervising Board of Electrical Contractors and Electricians of the City, Hotel and Motel Tax Advisory Committee, Industrial Development Corporation, Joint Airport Zoning Board, Parks and Recreation Board, Pilot Board, Safety Committee, and Trade and Tourism Promotions. Again, a lot of them inactive and don't read regularly, so that's why they made the list.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve 8.4 through 8.11.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Motion carries. Okay, move right along. We're going to consider and act on the issuance of a request for qualifications for a Public Works office. Ooh,
No.
David's asked for a ton of money.
Mayor and Council.
Moving.
This is just a permission to advertise for engineering services or architectural services to build an addition to Public Works. Right now, my office and my superintendent, assistant, and assistant director are in a trailer home, per se. That thing's falling apart. We got to watch where we step.
Oh, I saw the holes y'all are ripping in the walls. Yeah.
So at this point, all we're trying to do is just convert from a mobile office to a concrete on the slab office. But right now, all we're trying to do is get permission to just advertise for services. We'll still have to score them and still come forward to the council and ask permission to negotiate to get into contracts. But this is just step number one if you guys would consider.
Can I ask you where the funding's going to come from if contingent on the RFQs?
For construction? Yeah, we'd have to come forward to come up with a plan. We don't have the funding right now to make the building. We do have some funding to get the engineering done and the design.
Okay, so that's already in your current budget?
Well,
Yes,
the
yeah,
funding
the-
for this came from the tax note.
Yep.
Okay, that was.
So we do have the funding to design. Once it gets to design, it'd be, at that point, then we can actually do a cost construction based on the design.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion
Okay. All
to,
right.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
To consider and act on the issuance of request for qualifications for a Public Works office.
Okay.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Okay, now we'll consider and act on a pro rata water extension agreement with Robert Knox to install a 6-inch water line on Highland Avenue, 2,000 linear feet west of Avenue A to supply an RV development.
See, we'd like to table this item to the 18th. We're still working on the contract. We thought we would have it ready in time for the meeting, but it's not ready, so we're going to ask to postpone it to the 18th.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to postpone or to table the item for the pro rata water extension to May 18th.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll consider and act on a memorandum of understanding with the Child Advocacy Center of the Coastal Bend for a term of 3 years, beginning May 4th, 2026.
Mayor, Council, I'm asking for y'all's authority to sign a MOU between the Aransas Pass Police Department and the Coastal Bend Child Advocacy Center. What this is and it's just a continuance of what we've been doing. When we have cases that have victims that are children, it's the preferred method of interviewing those children is taking them to the Child Advocacy Center. they have the experience and the training to interview the children, and they do it a certain way, so that is the preferred method. And we've been doing it for a while, and we'd like to continue to do so. And it's going to be no cost to the city.
Okay, all right, thank you, Chief.
I'll make a motion to consider an act on memorandum of understanding with the Child Advocacy Center of the Coastal Bend for a term of 3 years beginning May 4th, 2026.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll consider an act on authorizing the Aransas Pass Police Department to apply for a grant to fund modern AI-assisted police reporting software. That sounds important.
Mayor, Council, this year we decided to look at a few different AI solutions for law enforcement, what's out there. We tested a few out there, and we come across this one called Able the officers really liked. And what it does is it takes the officer's body camera footage, reviews it, and gives them a narrative based off of that footage. It's a rough draft. It's the officer can't just submit it to the prosecutor that way. It's just it cuts them back on having to fill in the redundant stuff, the stuff that the computer can pick up on the video. It gives them all that rough material to start with, and it cuts back on a lot of the report writing time it takes them. We've located 2 grants that will fund this project 100%. It's from Walmart and the Coke Company. So we're just asking for your permission to apply for those grants.
What, it'll be 20,800 though each year following?
Each year, yes.
And will grants
The
be
grant will
available for
cover the
those?
entire first year, and then it'll be up to us. If we like the product, we can continue, we can work it into the budget, or we can just discontinue use at that point.
That's probably something you could probably go to the Crime Control Board for, right?
Correct. Mhm.
Okay.
What about the DEA fund? Will it pay for that?
Yes, that would qualify.
So there's options if y'all do like it for
Yeah,
next year,
mhm.
then general fund?
So if you like it,
Perfect.
you can continue on anyway.
Okay.
And you know, just to add what he's saying, I know there's a push to keep the officers on the street, and this is a way of cutting the time down that they're spending inside looking at a computer and typing. So we're looking for innovative ways to speed up that process to get them back.
And it's a good system. It's completely CJIS approved, so the data's secure. It also has checks and balances, so the officers can't just use the AI's narrative for the reports. What it does is it puts random words in their narrative that they then have to go and search for and remove. Because
okay.
And it forces them to review it.
To review it.
And to sign for that narrative. And we've already spoken with the prosecutors. Most 2 or 3 prosecutors are full on board with it. So we're wanting to give it a try and see if it does really help. our
Will this
officers out.
replace dash cams and body cams?
No, it uses that footage. So
Okay.
it does not replace it.
Yeah, and so then if y'all don't like it, it's no loss to us.
No loss to us. It
Perfect.
costs us nothing, and we can move on.
Okay. I make a motion to approve on authorizing the Aransas Pass Police Department to apply for a grant to fund modern AI-assisted police reporting software.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. We have a second.
She wants
I'll
a
second.
second.
Yes. Okay. All right. Do you have a question you want to ask?
Yeah, I have more of a statement, because I'm really concerned about the use of AI. I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I've called I had to call the police before. I had to give statements, and I know firsthand how important it is that police report truly reflects what happens, because in those moments, your safety and your future can depend on it. That's why I'm really concerned about this grant for the AI police report software. I understand the appeal. Officers are busy. Paperwork takes time. The new tools can seem like a solution. But this isn't just paperwork. These reports become evidence. They shape investigations. They can decide whether someone is believed or not, and AI is not reliable enough to be trusted with something that's serious. Groups like the American Civil Liberties Union and the Electronic Frontier Foundation have already raised concerns about using AI in police reports, especially because these systems are still untested in high-stakes legal situations and lack transparency. These systems can get things wrong. They can fill in gaps with details that never actually happened, or misinterpret what's going on. I was actually watching a YouTube video on this. It was just a couple minutes, and it happened about a year ago in King County. I believe it's in Washington, and their prosecutor does not allow any AI whatsoever, because their AI system made a report. You know, they did the body cam footage and made a report, and it reported an officer that was not even there. So some of these things can be thrown out of court, and it can cause a whole mess. And when a report is based on body cam footage instead of an officer's own memory, it can change the story. An officer's perspective should be documented first before anything else influences it. Otherwise, we risk losing important details or ending up with a version of events that isn't accurate. As a survivor, that's terrifying because when you're already in a vulnerable situation, the last thing you need is your story to be altered, minimized, or misunderstood by a machine. I'm also worried about bias. We already know the system isn't perfect. AI is trained on data that reflects those same imperfections, and it could quietly reinforce them. That means certain communities could be affected even more. And there's accountability. A police report is supposed to be an officer's own words. If something's wrong, there's a person responsible. But if an AI is writing it, who's accountable? It becomes easier to shift blame and harder to get the truth. There are legal concerns too. People have the right to question the evidence against them. But with AI systems, a lot of that process is hidden. It's also known as a black box problem. The algorithms used to process audio or data lack transparency, making it impossible for defense attorneys to challenge how AI arrived at its conclusions, as detailed reports from the American Civil Liberties Union and the Policing Project have reported that lack in transparency just doesn't belong in a justice system. On a practical level, I also question whether this is the right grant to be applying for. These systems cost money and they use significant resources, including water and energy, at a time that many communities are already dealing with shortages, including ours. There are so many other areas when funding could make a real difference, supporting victims, improving training, and strengthening our community relationships. I'm not against technology, but I'm against unproven tools in situations where stakes are this high. Police reports need to be human, they need to be accurate, and they need to be accountable. I'm asking y'all to think carefully before moving forward with this grant. I also forgot to mention with the King County, they also had their officers reviewing the AI reports, and police officers were signing, and they were still making mistakes. But thank you for listening.
See, I mean,
Go ahead.
I would have to side with you that I think human reports is better because AI, I mean, we all see AI on Facebook every day, and a lot of times it's wrong or gives
We've seen a lot of wrong.
misinformation. And I can see this as a second tool, but I would hate to see human reports or human reporting go by the sideways. And I'm afraid with something like this, some people say, oh, I got busy, I'll just sign that and use that. But as Meadows says, there's so many important details. And I would think as a police officer, you know, they say if you get robbed, you need to know the color of the hair, the color of the suit, the tie, I mean, like that commercial. I think in times of emergency, those details that someone will remember personally that maybe AI won't pick up, that's very important to document. And I would be afraid this would be used as a tool in replace of human reporting.
And I understand both of y'all's concern, but I'd have to counter with that, is that when an officer is writing a report, he's watching the body camera as he's doing it. He's getting, let's say that you're getting a statement from somebody. We're not doing written statements, it's being said over the body camera. So if it's going to be transcribed from what the officer and the victim and or suspect, if you're doing an interrogation, and AI is picking it up and putting it on that report, it's still the officer's responsibility to read that report. And if he fails to do that, then again, you're right. It could be you know, an acquittal with a non-prosecution. And I think that's where it's going to be responsibility of the supervisors and above to make sure that's going on, because it's already happening as it is right now. Is when a report is being done, they're watching the body camera, they're stopping it, and then they're typing their report. And memory, you're going to get more off of what is coming off that body camera, because that's what's capturing everything. Human memory, it can lose a lot of stuff that body camera is not. And you hear in multiple cases that, you know, an officer says something, the body camera says different. I mean, watch the camera. look what they're saying on the camera. So there's a catch on both sides of it. And I would just, I would agree with you to caution, and give me 1 second. I would agree to be cautious with it. And I think that's what this is. It's that 1 year that if we get the grant, that we can evaluate it and say, okay, this is this is not something we want to do, that it's going to cause more issues than not. So with that, go ahead with what you're saying.
Excuse me just a second. Chief,
Yes, sir.
your people turn in a report. You have a supervisor that reviews those reports
Yes, sir.
and sends it back for corrections,
Yes, sir.
correct? It goes to a detective. That detective reviews that report and goes over everything and sends it back if more is needed, correct?
Yes, sir. In certain circumstances, yes, sir.
Yes.
If it's an on-view arrest, it rests with the officer and the supervisor before it goes to them. But if it needs investigating, a detective.
Well, and
Okay,
further,
but-
it goes through a records approval too. So there's
Excuse me,
even
just
another
a second, I'm sorry. It also goes to the DA, and the DA gets the video, right?
Yes, sir.
Then there's 3 ways that it's clarified. And if you guys are doing it number 4, if you're doing it in records, then it would have to be a real screw up to miss it, for all 4 people to miss it.
Exactly, and especially with the checks, the system that I explained earlier. If the word unicorn is in your narrative and you didn't pick it up, it's going to be obvious that officer didn't review it properly, and
Right.
they need to go back and review it.
And
But
the other point of the matter is there is too much time spent in the office doing reports
Yes.
instead of being out on the street.
Yes, and one thing I'd like to point out, so I'm almost about to hit my 18th year here with the city. When I got here, the police officers didn't have computers in the car. Matter of fact, we had 2 computers in the PD. The officers hand wrote their reports, and we had our records people type them into our system at that point. When I first got here and I decided that the officers needed computers in the car, we received similar concerns from the community, that officers would be watching their computers and not paying attention, would cause vehicle accidents. But instead, we've seen production increase. I can't even put a number on it. It's amazing. Officers can't even function without MDTs anymore. It's become a core function of how we operate. So when I'm not here, I work with AI. I've been doing it for years. AI's coming. We can fight it, but it's not going anywhere, just like the smartphone. It's coming. We can either embrace it and use it, or we can ignore it. But it's not going to go away. It's here. It's scary. It is. But we either use it to our benefit, or we allow others to use it, and we choose to avoid it. So in my opinion is that if we put the right procedures into place, we can use AI to our benefit and increase productivity citywide. But just like with any piece of technology, it's a tool, and we have to use it right.
I have a question.
Yes.
I just want to clarify that, so we're not going to lose any steps of, once these reports are done, them being gone through by supervisors, and, I mean,
Absolutely not.
nobody's going to say, oh, well, this was AI's in it, and it just
Think
skips
of
a
this
step.
as-
Like, it's still going to be thoroughly looked over, made sure. And then,
Absolutely, absolutely. Think of this as Grammarly, a really powerful Grammarly. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Grammarly. It now even helps you write, and that's exactly what this is doing. It's going to help the officers.
and there's going to be training with them, and
Absolutely, and a lot of them have been using it for long. This isn't just something we found last night. We've tested it for months now, since the beginning of this year. This was my project this year, so since the beginning of this year, we've been testing different ones. We select a few officers, they test them out, see how they like them. We get feedback, and usually the companies we like are the ones who listen to our feedback, and that's kind of what this company has
and
done.
I think, Summer, thank you for your input, because you have valid concerns. You really do, and I appreciate that, and I think that it's something we need to at least try on a trial basis, and let's see how it works. But I heavily emphasize on the training of it and making sure that, these reports are not getting skipped over thinking, oh, they're accurate because AI did them. I think that's really important.
So during this time that you've been using it, what's your accuracy ratio on reports?
Most of the time, we haven't noticed even a difference between the officers that are handwriting or the ones that are being created by AI. because in the end, the officers are creating it. Again, it's not writing it directly into the system. It's giving them text that they can use. So
it's
they're
more
not
of assistance?
Yeah, it's not like it just prints it. They can hit save and go on with their day. No matter what, they're having to move that text into the system themselves, and they're swearing to it.
Okay. I'm just not, personally, not comfortable with it. I mean, I just think it leaves way too much room for error, and it discounts the human interaction, the human smell, your sensory keys that a computer will not pick up. I think there's a lot to be said for that. And again, I would hate for our officers to say, oh, sorry, I got busy, let me just sign that one and be done with it, and lose some very key pieces to an investigation.
Let me give you an idea of how this, so we talked about negative things. It can pick up things that aren't involved. That's absolutely correct. If you go out to a scene and there's 5 cars there, it's going to record all 5 of those cars. Well, those 5 cars might not be involved in that call, and it is up to the officer to say, okay, this vehicle was involved, this one wasn't. It's just like if I was to arrive on scene, I'm using this tool as my notepad. It's collecting the information for me, so I don't have to do it later. But it's not writing anything for me.
So the officers will still have to go in and say, and like if there is a smell, there was an overwhelming smell, they're going to be still editing these. It's not just a one stop, like they're going to still be putting their own stuff in it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's not it doesn't write the report for the officer.
And they can add and edit and do everything they need to that's my main thing, is that if they need to add details.
I kind of understood it writes a report. I thought you said it writes a report for the officer.
It creates the narrative, but it doesn't do everything for you. It doesn't just create the narrative, save it into the report, and you call it a day. It gives you say, okay, here, it looks at the video and it says, okay, in this scenario, this is what I think happened, and it's going to give the officer text.
Gives you a template, basically.
A template. They choose what they want to do with their text. They're going to use some of it. They're not going to use all of it. They might. And then again, it's putting those words in there, so they have to go through and review it to make sure that those words have been removed from the report.
Is it accurate to say that this is almost like dumping a bunch of stuff into a notepad, and then you take the parts that's right and you put it into the, if that makes more sense?
They're just,
it's not putting it straight in.
It's not a one-stop, like AI does it all, and the officers are just turning that in.
But
They still have to
this is the
input
benefit
information.
we're getting is I'm an officer on scene. Right now, I'm having to get your driver's license, write everything down, get your driver's license, write everything down, get your driver's license, write everything down. Using this system, all I have to do now is look at all these driver's license, and the system's going to write them down for me. So now I don't have to go back in the office and type all this manually. I have it typed out for me. All I do is copy and paste it where it needs to go. And then that's the point where I'm double checking my work. Was this person involved? Oh no, actually this person was, they were the neighbor, they weren't even there. So I'm not going to include them in the report. So the system is collecting data for the officer. It's still up to the officer to create the end report that's going to go to the prosecution. And they're going to sign to that and swear to that. At no point does the AI create something where there's no human involvement and it goes, away out of our control. That never exists. Again, it's a tool. Think of it as a really advanced spell check.
I just feel like it leaves too much room for sloppy investigation. Sorry, Chief.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. I cannot back this.
You have a
I
second
can't.
on the floor, sir.
Yeah. Come up here, Larissa.
Hello, Council. Larissa Rios, 1044 South Commercial. While I understand this program is meant to cut time in our stations, I know for a fact that I would trust an officer writing a report over a computer. While there is always room for improvement, AI will never have the ability to detail the human experience, and that is the trouble with systems such as this one. We, the citizens, deserve to know exactly how our sensitive information is going to be handled, and I don't trust that AI is going to be the answer. If there's no difference in the product, I don't see how it's needed. I've seen AI-generated posters with obvious mistakes on them, and I don't want to see these kinds of mistakes on sensitive police reports. And what more after police reports? Are we going to have a say in what the next levels of surveillance are? Or will it be swept under the rug under a grant that was already passed? To say that it saves time at traffic stops, in all honesty, I was stopped recently, and my officer came right back. So we have excellent officers that are very fast. We have already seen how easily AI has copied and pasted without verification. How can we, the public, know that every detail is counted? And what's AI going to input for what is not on camera, specifically body camera images? There's a reason why court reporters are not being replaced by AI. The attention to detail that a human being commits towards a statement cannot be outperformed by AI. Computers in cars is not the same thing as artificial intelligence stepping on our rights to privacy. The future is not AI. The future is your community and how much work we, the people, are willing to put into it for a brighter tomorrow. And I don't know about any of you, but I haven't seen any robots at the community garden lately. So I ask that you all please take care in the choice that is made in this grant proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a system that actually, instead of writing the report for you and taking the information, that the officer writes the report and then it like double checks what the officer wrote?
So yes, there are those systems. We actually demoed it. So a supervisory system, but it's still accomplishing the same thing. So you're taking away, instead of taking away step 1, you're taking away step 2. So right now the officer and the AI are creating the report, and the supervisor is going to review it. If we do it the opposite way, then the officer creates a report from scratch, but then an AI reviews it. So I'm kind of, me personally, I'm leaning towards the final review should be a person.
I just know, like, if
Not
I had to
an
write a
AI.
paper and I was to put it, like, if I write a paper and then I put it into an AI type format, it's going to still leave my context, my information, my resources, everything that, you know, I did, and maybe just fluff it up a little bit, make it sound a little better.
So
but
well, what
if you
that's
get
addressing-
AI to write a report and you give it like, hey, write a report, it won't even be it wouldn't even be the same.
Yeah,
it would
no,
be
and you're right. And what that addresses quality. That doesn't address productivity. So we're looking at speeding up the process. That what you're saying, which is they exist and we did test some, it improves the officer's quality. It's basically an advanced spell check. It's making sure all the elements of the crime are there and things of that nature. So there are those AI products out there, and we have tested those as well. We just felt that they didn't help enough. Honestly, having that all would be beneficial, but we're limited by funding and things of that nature.
And then we just had the lengthy presentation for the water and needing the desal plant, but then we're turning around and approving an AI project, and that's like
But again, no.
that uses water for data centers. So
And again, this is completely grant funded using a technology grant,
The
not,
water is not.
yeah.
I feel like the other system I would be more comfortable with, just from my experience, as opposed to reversed. And that's just my personal feeling. If we had something that actually the officer wrote up himself with his own details, and then it was put into another system for the checks and the balances, then I would feel more comfortable with that versus an AI program actually writing the report.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Me.
Oh, great.
It's up to you, boss.
Well, I'm all for the police, 100%, but I've got to go with no because that water deal. We've all got to step up to the plate and start conserving water. So that's my vote. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to move into consider and act on a memorandum of understanding with Bay LTD for crane services for the installation and removal of the sea gates and rail gates beginning June 1st, 2026 through May 30th, 2027.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. So we were up for renewal with Bay LTD already. They're the ones bringing the crane in up on the berms to set the sea gates and the rail gates in the event that we have to put the gates in. They opted not to renew this year because of price increases. So I went out and sent request for quotes out to 5 different companies, all the ones I could find that were local within a reasonable response time. Bay was the only one that responded. So we're looking at re-entering a new MOU with Bay LTD for the installation and removal of the gates. As far as pricing, it varies. It's based on okay,
Hourly.
How many installs do we have? Is it an emergency situation? Do we have time where they can do it during business hours? Just for purposes of presentation, I'll talk the highest numbers that we would talk. It would be $6,330 for the install and the same amount for the removal under emergency after hours situations. And of course, if we have the time, they can do it Monday through Friday, kind of business hours, it would be significantly cheaper.
Okay. And I know 361, that's TxDOT, that's on their
Yes,
billing.
361 is completely TxDOT. We have no control over that one. We're talking about the 2 kind of there at the entrance to Pelican Cove, and then the 2 across the railroad tracks.
Right. Okay. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to consider an act on a memorandum of understanding with Bay LTD for crane services for the installation and removal of the sea gates and rail gates beginning June 1st, 2026 through May 30th, 2027.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Aaron. Okay, now we're going to consider an act on authorizing the issuance of a request for qualifications for a public boat ramp rehabilitation at Con Brown Harbor.
And let me just add, this is for engineering services, right?
Right.
Correct. This is
Yeah.
for engineering services. For the boat ramps itself, of course, they're not that old, but they're falling apart. The actual base structure, there's holes, there's divots, all kind of problems with those. My personal opinion, probably bad design at whenever that was put in. So Mary kind of brought this to our attention, asked us to kind of start working on this project. So we'd like to go off RFQs to for engineering services to see, okay, what is the proper way of doing this? That way we're not redoing this again in a few years. So if we're going to do it, we want to make sure we're doing it right and that it's going to be sustainable. So what we're asking right now, go out for RFQs, get engineering services to figure out exactly what the best course is going to be, and then we're going to kind of figure the rest out once we have a better idea of pricing and that kind of stuff, because we really don't know at this point.
Aaron, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said they weren't very old. How old are they?
Oh, I do not recall.
And what's the
90s.
warranty on the work with whoever did the work? Can we go back to them to repair it?
I don't believe so.
No, we're well beyond that. I
Yeah,
don't
we're
remember.
well beyond the
It
warranty.
was.
So I'm just asking if that's an
That was,
option.
that was like early 90s, I want to
Was it the
say.
90s? Okay.
Oh, didn't it get done with when the parking lot and all that stuff was done?
Well, the parking lot got yeah, the parking lot got
So it's,
yeah, the parking lot got extended then, but yeah, it's been,
It seems like it didn't seem long enough that they should be failing, but it wasn't just a few years ago.
and this is for all 4 of them, right?
Correct. All the ones down there at the end of
Okay.
Con Brown.
Okay, all right. Okay, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve authorizing the issuance of a request for qualifications for a public boat ramp rehabilitation at Con Brown Harbor.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
they're everywhere.
Mayor,
Yes.
in the executive sessions item, the third item, composition of city boards, that's going to be removed and will not be discussed in executive session.
Okay, everything else is good still?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, now we're going to move into executive session, and we have 2 items. First will be Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce audit. Second will be Con Brown Harbor Lease Sea Level Marine, and it is 8:24 p.m. Okay, we're going to reconvene in open session. It is 9:36 p.m. There's no action to be taken. Meeting adjourned.
Goodbye.